Hey, I'm Tutorial Phil. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a more detailed video on the Hermès Cityback 27. This is now called the medium model, and this is in the taurillon cristobal leather. The color, it looks like they actually recently changed this. On the US site, this used to be called the lead gray, and then now when I checked, because Hermès recently updated their website, this is now called plomb, which is the French word for lead. And just to quickly show you, the 27 is in reference to the width, which is the same thing as their other bags. So if you see here, if you measure on the bottom, that is 27 centimeters. I would describe this color as kind of the ardoise color that you see on other luxury brands. It's a very dark gray. And then these are the straps. I really like this detail, and it actually works fairly well for narrower shoulders, which I have. And these are adjustable. So you can see the straps here. There are 5 adjustment holes. So that's the same on both left and right straps. And in my unboxing video, I had talked about this. There's a dust bag for the buckles. It's a double-ended dust bag with openings on both sides. And this dust bag doesn't actually have Hermès on it, but it's the same material as all of their dust bags. And then the way you attach this is you just put it through the buckles. So for me, I'm gonna try this on at near the end of the video. So since you want the buckle to be facing outward, you follow the curve. And I'm gonna put it on the last adjustment just to have more of a snug fit, because I'm not gonna wear a coat with this, at least when I model it. And then you put the extra strap through the keeper, which would go on the inside, so you won't necessarily see it when you're wearing it. And this is really tight right now because I have not actually worn it yet, and I kept the straps out of the loops while I was storing it because I have not made a video of it yet. Here I have now both straps connected, and like I was saying, I was using the last adjustment hole. And there's actually, I meant to say there's 2 keepers. One is movable and one is attached to the strap. Part of the signature look of this bag, because it doesn't say Hermès anywhere, nor does it have an H, you can tell that this is a Cityback based on the design of the side. So there's a button here, and I'm surprised this doesn't have the Hermès clo. I'll insert a picture up in the corner to show you what I'm talking about. It's a pretty signature element of Hermès, and they put that on a lot of their buttons. These you can open to basically open the backpack all the way, but there are zippers on the top as well, which you could just open this halfway and then get your items out and not have to open the side tabs. On the right side of the bag, there's an extra zipper, and when you're wearing it, it would be on your right side here. And you'll see it better when I undo the snap. So you can see this is the main zipper that goes all the way around it, but there's this small zipper here, and it uses similar hardware and the leather pull tab as the main one. So I'll show you here. These are the 2 pull tabs. They're the same. This is not an extra pocket, it's just another opening to the same interior. It's great if you need to access something quickly that's maybe more on the bottom that you can't as easily access on the top. I do think this bag looks nicer with the buttons down. It has a more streamlined look. but you can obviously keep them open too if you do plan on opening the bag all the way to access your item. And I'll show you in a bit how a laptop will fit in there, because that's probably going to be my main use of it. Unlike the Epsom version, this is much softer and much more supple, so you can see there's really very little structure to this bag. So once you open it up, it could easily just fall, like the leather just bends and creases. And you can already see in the front with the lighting here, you can see where the folds are based on what kind of materials on the other side. This is how the bag looks like fully opened. The beige material you see is a canvas lining, and it looks to be the exact same material as the dust bags, which I find a little bit odd. I kind of wish it was maybe just plain and in a darker color. You have one big slot compartment here. It's not gusseted on the side, so you can't really fit thick items here. These are just for pretty thin items. I guess you could put your phone in here, but it'll probably eventually stretch the leather out a little bit. And then on the top here is the stamp. That's where it says Hermès Paris, made in France. I don't think I've ever seen the Cityback in gold hardware. I believe they only make it in silver hardware, and it is palladium plated, which gives it a much brighter look than just standard stainless steel. The buckles, which I showed earlier, these are all palladium plated, and palladium is generally used in fine jewelry to plate gold to make it white gold. There's palladium and rhodium, and they're both pretty similar. The bottom, there are no feet, but there is an extra leather panel here. You can see here how it's stitched on. There's an extra leather panel. When you have this zipped up and assuming you have things balanced inside, it can actually stand up on its own. But if you have items where it's kind of slouching or slanting, then I guess the bag's probably gonna fall. And when I was looking at the backpacks, they had 3 other types. They had 2 Epsom. They had the GM model, which I think it'll probably be equivalent to a 35. So if you measure the base, I think it was probably a 35 centimeter. They had it in Epsom in black, and they also had it in a dark slate blue. They did also have a crocodile version, which was definitely out of my price range for what I wanted to spend on a backpack. I believe it was something like 44,000 or 45,000 euros. This bag was 4,700 euro. The Epsom leather in the same size, I believe, was 4,500 euro. So for this leather, it's 200 euros more expensive. And here I wanted just to show you a little bit more close-up detail of the bag. You can see the grain. This is the taurillon cristobal. It's very fine, unlike the Togo leather on my Birkin. So it's very smooth. The only thing that kind of bugs me about this leather is that because it's so supple and soft, you see all the crease lines of how it's structured inside. So the reason why you see this is because there's an extra leather panel inside. But when you fill it with things, it's less noticeable. This was the button I was talking about earlier. It's just in a brushed steel look in the middle, and then it's polished on the side. So this is kind of the wing that attaches here. And then these are the zipper pulls I was talking about earlier. It's in leather. Most of Hermès' zipper pulls are in leather, unlike Louis Vuitton, where most of them are metal. And the hardware is pretty thin. So you can kind of see there how thin the zipper is. And I think that's just part of their aesthetic. So you can see the stamp better here. It's in silver, Hermès Paris, made in France. And this is the interior lining that I was saying looks exactly like the dust bag, and I'm pretty sure it is the exact same material. There's one top handle here, and it's just a stitched piece of leather. And I really like the detail of how they chose to connect the strap. It's all leather work. There's no extra metal hooks or buckles. You can see how there's a slot for where this part goes inside here. And this is nicely curved to help fit on your shoulders. Last thing I wanted to show you before I do the try-on is how a MacBook fits inside. So this is a MacBook 13-inch Pro. This is the Retina version. It's not the one with the touchpad. The touchpad is even thinner. And my biggest concern when I was purchasing this was making sure it would fit my laptop, which could be a moot point if I decide to upgrade to a 15-inch anyway. So I did bring a ruler or a measuring tape with me, the same one that I used earlier, so that I can kind of make sure it will fit. This one, because it tapers, it's less wide or it's narrower on top. That was the only thing where I was a little nervous about. But if I bring this over on the other side, this is technically the front of the bag, which faces outside. And then here is the laptop. You can see it slides right in. There is a little bit of room to spare up here. So if I was going to carry this in here, due to the delicate leather, I probably will have another thin sleeve covering this. So I can easily zip this up. And that, because it's almost a snug fit, I don't think it's going to fit the 15-inch. Unfortunately, you will need to get the GM model for that. This is what the backpack looks like with just the laptop on it. So you see there's still not much form to it. You might be able to see the laptop in here. So now I have both sides closed. Something to kind of figure out right now is if you can still get the laptop out without opening the buttons. And it looks like you can't, because it's such a snug fit. Actually, you probably heard it just pop the side open. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to, if you're gonna carry a 13-inch laptop in here, you're gonna have to open up the buttons in order to get your laptop out. And then I'm gonna show you some modeling shots.